In this video I'm going to show you a dress made with the daisy pattern, and we're going to applique some butterflies onto it. So you need some border tissue paper, some kind of pattern paper. I've also used some pink ribbon, some pink rickrack, some bows, and of course I have got the main fabric and a contrast onto which I will put the rickrack. And I'm also straight away, this is the first thing I do, going to put some ribbon onto it. So what you do is you fold over the ribbon to form a bow, and then that bow is going to go underneath the rickrack. And I'm cutting it about 4 inches in length. So cut yourself 4 of those and then fold them over. You can stitch them through the middle first if you like, or do what I do here and just pin them onto the edge of the dress. So no need to turn in anything, you just straight over the top. It makes it much easier, and also it stays a bit flatter. So then you pin the rickrack over the top, and I'm going to zigzag that on. And on the back you have to first overlock the centre back and then sew it together so that you can put the trim on the bottom as you have done on the front. So place the trim on, that's all we're doing here, and then again do the same as on the front, put the bows on and then the rickrack over the top. So I'm using a fairly small rickrack, and I'm placing the rickrack so it's right on the centre of the trim so that we can catch it and it doesn't slip out. So all the way across. Once you've done that to both front and back, we can carry on with doing our little butterflies. That's actually really easy to do, but it will take you a long time. So you trace out your butterflies 8 times. 8, yes! And then we're going to take all our traced butterflies and we're going to position them on the front and the back. And once you've got your position how you want it, you take the middle 2 off again, simply because the paper is just going to get in the way if you do too many at the same time. So I'm going to pin my first one on here in the right position, and then I'm doing the other one that's furthest to the side. And I can use all sorts of different colours to do that. I can do the antennas in a different colour to the body. I'm using the triple stitch to do this and simply just stitch over it. The important thing is, of course, that you always have the needle down when you turn in the fabric to go all the way around. And if you're using all the different colours, especially on a dark fabric, it really makes it pop. It's really great. So yeah, choose what you like in terms of colour, and then take about 2 hours. No, I'm kidding. It was only an hour and a half. Ha ha. No, it does take a very long time, so it's good fun now as well. I quite enjoyed myself. I did this all afternoon, so changing over the threads constantly and trying another colour and another colour. Then when you've done all of this in all the different colours, you can see here I've used different ones, then you can just rip off the paper, which is, again, it's really easy to do, and it's in exactly the right position now. That's why I use this paper. So I can now put the next lot on, which I'm putting slightly sort of at a slant towards the other one. And again, I pin them on and then I sew those ones on, and then you can see after quite a while that was done. And next I'm going to do my wings. So get all your scraps out that you've got in your box that match and cut yourself some wings. The wings overlap, so I want to start with just the one side of the wings. So take the other side back off. And I would also suggest that you use Bondo web for this and iron them on, and then I'm going to put my machine on a zigzag stitch and fairly low buttonhole strength as well for the tension. So put that right down, then I stitch around the butterfly wings. And really, if I had used Bondo web, this would be much better and easier to do, but I actually forgot that I had some. It was really silly. When I'd done all this and finished, I found all the Bondo web. So But anyway, it works without it, but it certainly is easier if you do the Bonder web. Then of course you have to do the other side as well. You put the next one on and you can see the overlap here, and just go all the way around there. Again, I've used different colors. So on the polka dots in blue and white, I used white, and on the other one I used pink. Put my little bows on as well, so a few hand stitches so that they're done. Now I can do my sleeves. You can just do them as turn-up sleeves as per the original daisy pattern, but if you wanted to do it with an elastic at the bottom, then you should cut some off. I would suggest you cut actually 3 inches off. The 2 wasn't really enough. When the dress is finished, you'll see, but I didn't want to do it again since no one wears this dress anyway. So then you overlock the edge, and we can leave it at that first. And then my elastic here is 8 inches, but it is really advisable to just, you know, check it round your child. What is the right length there? And then you put your sleeves in first. So right sides facing each other, and you kind of like just pin them edge to edge. And you do that, of course, on all the sides of the sleeve. And once they are in, it should look like this. And we want to now top stitch the edge as well. I think that always is really good. So your overlocked seam has to go towards the body middle, ironed as well, of course, and then line it up on the presser foot where you've got a line that you're comfortable with, and then with a longer type stitch you go all the way down so it looks nice and even like this. Then we're going to overlock our edge of the facing, and we are pinning the facing all the way around. I've put Violin in the area of the fastening only. So once I've sewn all this on, I am now going to cut it all back. So cut to the quick there where the curve is, so that you can actually turn it and cut back a lot where the curve is, and then not so much obviously where the rest of the dress is. It's not as necessary. And then you want to do the understitching again. That gives you just the best edge, so about 2 millimeters off, with the seam allowance rolling into the facing. You sew the whole thing in. And you can see here the stitch on the inside, and it's only on the facing, so the seam allowance is held in there. Next we're going to pin the facing down so that we can then top stitch it from the beginning of the sleeve at the back and go to the end of on the other side. What you don't want to do is go all the way to the end, because that looks really silly, because you've got that fastening on there and it just, the lines don't work. My first dress I did it like that and then unpicked it. Here you can see I'm only going to the end of the sleeve and then reverse stitch, obviously lock your stitches in. And we're done with that. Of course you can put a bow on there or anything else. I put a little bow quite central, but apparently it's a bit on the skew. I did that in subsequent dresses. Here I've put a triangle from the outside that you can see here to hold it in place, but you could just hand stitch the facing. I think in fact that's nicer. So then we want to put in our cam snaps, and the key here is to just go through all the layers once you positioned your little poppers. So you go all the way through, so they are in the same position. Don't try to do like the top first and then do the bottom. Flat side on the underneath, and then the one with the really thick rim goes on to that one first. Put your tool over the top and press it in, and then on the other side the flat one goes on the top, and then the one with a sharper rim goes on top of that, and that will fit into the one with a thicker rim. So press that in and you've got your popper done. I love these poppers, they're so easy. I wish I'd discovered these years ago. Now we can close our side seam. So in one go, then overlock it. Here in this area sometimes get a tension, so you might want to snip it. Now I'm going to just turn in my sleeve where we've already ironed it, and I'm going to stitch it in the overlocking, and then I leave a gap through which I can put the elastic through, and we're using a safety pin for that. I always see in my courses, honestly, people that try to put it in without anything, they just sit there for half an hour and you think, oh, but if nobody tells you, you won't know. So use a safety pin, that's what you want to do. And then sew your elastic together, sew it together so they overlap each other, so it's nice and flat, and then you get the sleeve. And here you can see how I really didn't do that too well. It should have been higher up, it's just too long, that sleeve, by about an inch. So if you took that up an inch, it would have looked so much better. Overlock the hem and then pin it up, and we're going to sew this hem from the outside again. But here where you've got the seam, if you wanted to just snip it, it's a little trick but makes it a lot easier, and then fold the seam allowance in opposite directions, baby. It's not so thick here in that area, then it's much easier to sew. So from the outside, then you sew this. You go onto your needle plate, that would be 1.5 centimeters, but of course you can, it depends what hem you did. And we finished another dress of the Amelie and Daisy series. If you wanted to make the Daisy dress with a proper puff sleeve, then you can take the puff sleeve of the Amelie dress, as you can see here, and I think that really rocks that style. Absolutely love how that looks. Ella had made a Miss Claus costume here for our daughter Magdalena, which so rocks, I thought. And then we've got more festive variations, which also all come with a video, with the slim sleeves or the long puff sleeves. And then we've got the Amelie dress as a princess dress. So I hope you enjoy these two dresses, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.